Hey there, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Today I wanted to walk through how we can use Census to easily load segments of contacts directly from your database into Sendgrid. To do this, we really just need to follow three simple steps. Number one, we're going to walk through how to connect Census to a data source and then also connect it to a destination such as Sendgrid. Number two, we need to create or import a model on top of the data source. And the last thing we need to do is sync that model that we create with your destination. So to start this off, let's go ahead and jump over to our connections. You'll see for a data source, I already have Snowflake connected here, but this can also be any other data warehouse that you use or a database or even something as simple as a Google Sheets. And as far as the connections go on the front end, looks like we don't have anything right now. Let's go ahead and add our first service. And let's go ahead and add Sendgrid today. And really all we need to do is fetch the API token from Sendgrid. So to do that, I'm going to jump over into my Sendgrid instance, come down to Settings, API Keys, and I'm going to make a new API key. Let's go ahead and call this Demo API Key. And this will just show up one time, but go ahead and copy this, drop it into my token. It's going to do a quick test to make sure it works. Looks like we're good to go. I can finish this up and I'm good to close that tab as well. The next thing we need to do is jump over into the models now, and we're going to go ahead and build our first model on top of that Snowflake connection. Now you're going to see there's three main ways that we can do this. If you have an existing DBT project or a look inside Looker built on top of LookML, you can go ahead and just import those directly. For today, I just want to go and actually create a raw SQL model. So I'm going to create model right here. And just to keep things simple, let's go ahead and fetch some query that just grabs all the new users from a table. And then I'm also going to add a calculation here that just calculates the time between when a user was created to the last time we saw that user used. And we can just name this maybe all new users based on the table name. I'm going to go ahead and save this here. And then when I jump back to my models now, we'll see that it exists here. Do a quick approval on the model so we can use it. And the next thing we want to do here, and this part is optional, but I actually want to create a segment on top of this group of users that we have. So hop over to segments, and I'm going to add a segment here. And we can maybe call this something like, users that have been inactive after 30 days from creation, right? So I'll call this users inactive after 30 days. And I'm going to base that off the all new users model. And from here, I want to add a filter for this to where maybe that days active field that we created manually is less than 30. Right, so then if the time from when the user was created till the last time we saw them is less than 30, we want them looped into this segment. And we'll do a quick preview just to run it against Snowflake real quick and make sure that the days active is accurate. Cool, looks like everyone has fewer than 30 days. We'll do a quick save on this. And now for the last step that we have, we just have to go over and add a sync now. So you jump over to syncs, I'm going to add a sync. I'm going to base it off my Snowflake connection, and I'm going to use the all new users model that we have, and then use the segment for users inactive after 30 days. And I want to go ahead and sync it into this contact object that's inside Sendgrid. You'll see right here in Sendgrid, there's currently no contacts in that list. If I come down to the bottom here, I'm going to tell Census to either create or update if that user already exists. I'm going to use the key as just email address. And then I also want to maybe add a mapping for first and last name. Great. And the last thing I want to do here before I run that full sync, let's go ahead and run a test just to make sure this works out. I'm going to try and add a single record into Sendgrid here. And we're just going to run a quick test to make sure it works before we send all 40 records over. All right, And it looks like our one record has been successfully loaded and synced into Sendgrid. So when I go ahead into my Sendgrid all contacts now, and I go ahead and refresh the page, I should see that one record Constantine at dinner.ly inside here. So I think we're good to go ahead and load the rest of them. So this first one's going to be a full sync. I do want to run the full sync right now. And then when I create this, you can see Census actually syncing the rest of those records. Great. And while we see this running here, we can go ahead and run through our configurations real quick. You'll notice down here we do have the option to manage which fields are synced over, but also we can also set a trigger. Right. So right now we don't have anything scheduled, but if I edit this, you'll notice we can go to make this, manual to sync every time you click the button, or we can also choose some cadence for it to sync. Realistically, it probably doesn't make sense to have this sync more often than the contexts themselves are actually changing, but really that's going to be dependent on the use case itself. And now that we actually have it running, let's go ahead and jump back over to Sendgrid and take a look if we have new contacts in here. So you can refresh the page. Excellent. Looks like all 44 records have been loaded in from the Census application. And the really great thing here is that while these contacts are being loaded in, it's not just a one-time thing. Once you have that cadence set, Census will actually go ahead and load new contacts in here as additional contacts in the data warehouse meet the criteria for that model. And then you can go ahead and just take this list and then use it for whatever mailing campaigns or emailing lists that you want on the Sendgrid side. Excellent. Well, thanks again for listening in. I really hope this has been helpful. I hope you have a really good day.